All right, guys. Welcome back to round three. We won the die roll this time, so we'll be on the play. This hand is good. If we draw another land, we just get ninja next turn. If not, it'll be a turn late, but this is definitely a keep. And we're just going to kick things off with a fairy miscreant. A little fairy miscreant over here. And the plan, obviously, it will change depending on what the opponent's on. So they're on blue. This looks like mono. It's going to be mono blue Delver. It could be Kiln Fiend. Is it Kiln Fiend? Maybe it's just a blue black control. We're not entirely sure yet. Did not draw the land. We're going to go ahead and fetch first because we don't want to mess up our ponder if we're going to keep them all on the top. So we're going to go ahead and get another island, ponder. So these are all great cards. Gush we want the least. Counterspell's great, and another island's going to be great. So we don't want to shuffle any of that up, and we're just going to serve in for one here. So we can always, so it looks like they're going to be on mono blue, in which case we're just going to play land pass. Actually, there's an argument to ninjutsu here. It forces them to have Vapor Snag. I think we can afford to. Yeah, I think that would just blow them out if that happened. So we're gonna force that. They don't have it, so we're now firmly ahead of the game. Okay, so it is looking like blue black. No, this is I don't know what this is. I guess it's still blue black. Oh, it's blue green mill, ladies and gentlemen. So he's got his engine online with for Jace's erasure, which is every time he draws a card, I mill one. I think we're still okay though. I'm gonna swing in for two. We're gonna play a miscreant and just hold up counter spells from here on out. So it's gonna be tough for him. He still has to find a green source, and maybe he's been sandbagging it, but the green sources will allow him to, yeah, see, he's got Moment's Peace, so he can flash back, prevent all damage, and that's what the deck's trying to do, is just keep preventing a bunch of damage. I think we go ahead and Spell Stutter Sprite this because we can just ninjutsu that back. And the deck does have some weird counter spells that make us both draw cards. So he could have gotten me there with that. Brainstorm's good. He gets three triggers off that. I think we're still okay. He's digging for a green source, and if he doesn't find that, we're going to be in a good spot.
I find it interesting that he keeps targeting himself.
That is
Oh no, it
no,
is
he's
targeting you.
not. No, he's not. No, he is targeting himself.
But he's milling cards that he wants. Like the moment's piece, I can understand, but there's also no way for him to know that that was on top.
Right. So it is pretty interesting. At some point, yeah, he's going to start milling me now. So he maybe found his green source. I don't know. I'm fine to mill both of those cards. Lightning bolts are kind of good, just for a little bit of reach. We have one that should be enough. We do have some counter spells to stop his moments pieces. So another Jace's erasure. I think we're going to go ahead and bolt at the end of turn here, just because we're probably going to use all of our mana next turn, and this is just we want to be as efficient as we can with that. So we're gonna ninjutsu first and then gush, so we're gonna hold off on that gush. And we're not too worried about drawing cards, we just want to keep drawing.
I think Lightning Bolt was perfect here.
Yeah, it's a very good draw. We still have to gush because I want the double blue for counterspell up. I'm gonna have to discard quite a few cards, but I don't need that other gush. I have ninjas in play, so we've got a lot of things that we don't really need. I don't need the augur.
You could bolt him now.
I'm okay with discarding. Like I've got to discard two cards, so I just discard a Scred and a Gush, and I don't really lose anything from doing that. Or maybe it's just another. I think it's the Scred and the Gush. He doesn't really have any creatures, and I'm already just drawing so many cards that, and I've got land drops to make, so there's no way that I can efficiently cast that Gush. And we've got 5 damage on the board, so he has to be able to successfully Moment's Peace every turn because we've got the Lightning Bolt as well. And he doesn't have the green source, so I think at the end of this turn we fire off this bolt. He's going to have to counterspell it because we're representing lethal, but we've got the spell stutter and the counterspell back up, and he knows about the spell stutter. So I think, yeah, we've just got that game. And post board, it gets really hard for him. We do have Pyroblast, which just destroy his enchantment, which is the engine of the deck. He can't really win without that. So if we draw Pyroblast and keep him off of that card, it's very powerful. There's even an argument for Echoing Truth to bounce it, and then once we have another counter spell, we can bounce it, and when he tries to recast it, just counter it. I don't know if we need that, but it's something I'm considering right now.
What do you think about Relic?
I don't know that he interacts with his graveyard at all.
He has Moment's Peace.
That's true. He's got Moment's Peace. I don't know that it's worth it. I'm just trying to apply pressure. I mean, the Screds come out. He doesn't have any creatures. So this would be exactly 60. If I wanted to bring in the Echoing Truth or the Relic, I'm not sure what I would pull out. Ninja's great. Gush, all of these cards are really great. I don't think I need either of these two cards. Is Ninja just synergizes with the spell sitter so well, which is really key in this matchup. I think I'm fine with it like this. And we've got the Pyroblast, so we've got everything this game. It's a little bit slow, but with the Pyroblast, like we just need to make sure that card resolves, and he's on a mold of 6, and he's going to have to tap himself out at some point to cast it. So we're looking all right to play a little bit of a longer game here. So I'm going to go ahead at the end of this turn, fetch for a red source, so I can use that red to get a blue source and cast the Delver. So a little bit of sequencing there. If you get the blue source, you want that red source for the Pyroblast, but then you won't be able to cast your Delver on that turn. So just a little something to point out there. And we just got it. I think we still do the exact same thing, though. We can hold up Pyroblast if we do it the other way. I think that's probably better. Get a clock. If he tries to cast Jace's Erasure, we can just counterspell it. Unless he's got the Dispel backup. I think we are okay with that, though. We can get it off the board at any time, and we'd rather wait for some counterspell backup. And if he taps out right here, we just get him. So we're going to get another island. Playing it a little bit more safe. I think we're not in any rush. We might have gotten very rewarded for countering it right there, but I don't think we need to. So let's go ahead and kick things off with a Preordain. So there's the counterspell and the spell stutter. So we're going to take the spell stutter first because we can cast that this turn. But actually, I think I'm just going to leave Miscreant, and I'm fine to take a turn off and let him do whatever it is he wants to do here. and set myself up for a better next turn. So he's going to have to play through the counterspell and the Pyroblast next turn. Oh, actually, I should have thought of that. He's going to make me mill the counterspell, but that's okay.
Where the counterspell go?
Wait,
He built,
where?
he built
Oh, he
himself.
milled himself, yes. So,
That seems like a mistake,
yeah.
especially once you top.
Mm-hmm. So, we can Gush here, so effectively creating 4 mana that we still won't have enough. So let's just preordain. We might not Pyroblast and Counterspell here. So we've got the island, that's great. We do want to hit land drops. I think we swing in and wait for him to try and negate damage. I don't think he's going to do it this turn, but he's going to tap his mana at some point, and that's when we get him. We've got pressure on the board enough, so this is exactly where we want to be moving in on him. We've got him now. Once again, just playing it a little bit more patient to ensure that our cards resolve. And he did, maybe he drew it, but he did have the Dispel, so it looks like we're going to get rewarded for that patience right there. And now he's back to square one, where he's got to use these cantrips just to find another Jace's Erasure, which isn't where he wants to be, because he's not getting any value off of them. The deck does have Muddle the Mixture. That's okay. He aerial volleyed. He found another one. I think we're still all right. He's got 2 cards left. And we've got this Gush. This sweet little Gush. So we're going to Spellstutter Sprite that. We definitely need those cards. A Ninja's pretty great. I think we just hold up. Nah, he's got a card. I think we just move. Yeah, well, I mean, we can't get our Spellstutter back, so we're just going to hold up Counterspell for the turn and swing in for 1. We definitely want to be ninjutsuing that Spellstutter Sprite. Okay, so gonna go ahead and swing in here. If we get this ninja going, that's gonna be pretty fantastic. And if he prevents damage too, it's only 3 damage. That's not really how he wants to be using his fogs, but he's not going to win if I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. So he's in a pretty tough spot right now with only 2 cards in his hand. I'm at a healthy 39 cards in my deck. I would just say overall this is a very good matchup for the Skred Delver deck. Having the Pyroblast as just the answer to the engine is really very powerful. Once again, I'm totally okay with this. It's only 3 damage. I don't need the cards yet. I've got a Gush if I want to, but I'm probably just going to lead with a Ponder here. Actually, it might be a Delver and just hold up Counterspell, and I'll Ponder next turn. I think developing the board, putting a little bit more pressure is what I want to be doing. And he milled the Delver, which I'm okay about, because I want this Delver to flip. Don't get the flip, but we get another draw. So let's see if he'll fog again. If he's using these fogs so liberally, I have to assume his hand is just a bunch of fogs, which we have the counter spells to play through, and I'm fine with negating the 4 damage here and fighting over the more powerful fogs that will be coming. I think we're going to Gush here, unless we draw land. We drew land, so we're not going to Gush. Just going to pass the turn. That's a pretty good card. I think we definitely have to Spellstutter Sprite that one. If we really need to, we can Gush to find a Pyroblast if he tries to do anything really tricky. Um, but with only 2 cards in the hand, I don't know that he will. So I don't think this is something that I want to fight over. I'll just mill 3. The Pyroblast I'd rather hit the Jace's Erasure. Unless he has some sort of fetch source, he's Brainstorm locked himself into the next 3 draws. Unless he mills himself, he can mill himself if he doesn't like the cards on the Brainstorm. That's a pretty interesting interaction, but he just milled me 3 times. So I'm actually going to fetch, not fetch yet, because I want to take a look at what this Delver, if I don't like the card, I can always, yeah, so I don't, it is a redraw. I think I'll keep it, not reveal it. Then we can go ahead and draw for the turn. And we just always start with a swing. That is okay. Still okay with all of that. We've still got half of our deck, so we have a lot of time. And we found the Pyroblast. We've got counters. He's only got 1 card, so we're pretty safe to fire this off right now. He does have the counter spell. Unfortunately, everything's lining up exactly how we want it to. AK for 2. I guess the Relic is a reasonable consideration, given that he also has AKs. So maybe it is worthwhile to bring in. I do think that we're just so favored in the matchup already that it's not going to make that big of a difference, but I think Adrian did have a good point that it's probably a card that is worth bringing in. A little bit of misstep for me. I forgot I had the Delver, so I should have held up that fetch just to take a look at the card, and if I didn't like it, I could fetch it away. Luckily, we got rewarded with a flip anyways. So I'm going to take the Pyroblast now. I can draw the Augur next turn and then get that Brainstorm off the Augur. So I think we're okay to just sit tight right here. It's interesting. I think I just let him resolve that and keep him off of Jace's Erasure. He can't really win without that card. What would be interesting is if he digs so aggressively, it's possible he might have less cards in the deck than me. At which point we might be able to mill the mill deck. I don't think it's going to get to that point, but
He's like 10 ahead of
yeah. But I mean, if he cantrips 3 times a turn, resolves a couple of AKs, I'd probably have to counter the AK. So we're just, I guess I should have played the Augur first because I'm going to draw that Brainstorm if he doesn't fog, and then I don't, there's a potential chance to whiff on this Augur. I will draw the card though, and see if I get something else too. So we whiffed. That's okay. We don't really want any of those cards. So just, skipping those 3 draw steps is fine. And he is going to AK. It's pretty good. I know he doesn't have a fog. I think we Pyroblast. I'm going to Brainstorm first just to see what we have. So I put this gush on top. We don't really need a gush. We'll go ponder gush. Gush. I think we're gonna counter it. This just puts him in a tough spot. I know he doesn't have a fog, or else he would have used it last turn. If he drew it, unless it's the flashback one, he isn't going to be able to play through this counter spell. And it is not the flashback one, so he does have another card in his hand. We'll see what it is here. That's unfortunate. We're gonna try and find our last Pyroblast. We don't find it. We can't gush for it because we have to put 2 cards back on top, and those will be the cards we draw off the gush. Unless we wanted to double gush, but I'm fine. Tangle's pretty unfortunate. He'll get the next attack step off too, but that's okay. I think we put these on top, and he's going to get the Arcane Denial.
You can also look for your 4th lightning bolt.
We do not want to shuffle the library. We want that card, and he's going to mill those 2 lands most. Or he's not going to mill anything. He doesn't have that card. Yeah, we're going to draw it. Oh, actually, yeah, we've got to draw through those lands anyways, so we're going to draw them both. Yeah, he hasn't milled any of our lightning bolts yet, so any of those off the top is just game. And he found the erasure, so he's got a clock back online, no cards in hand, and now he's gained a life. It is relevant. The lightning bolt isn't going to get us there anymore, but let's go ahead and lead off with an augur here. So we did find a lightning bolt. That's great. I think we'll just play an island here. And we're going to fire off that lightning bolt EOT. So it's getting kind of close. It might be a close one here. Okay, that makes me very comfortable now. Yeah, if it's Tangle, we can counter it. If it's the flashback one, that's okay. All right, a little closer game 2 than I thought, but we still managed to take the match. So I'll see you guys in match 4.